Today I would like to address a topic that is near and dear to my heart, and that is process. I want to define what a process is. I want to talk about them. I want to address some of the criticism you hear about them. My background is in business process management. I spent a big part of my career building frameworks to help execute processes, to help model them. So I feel like I have a pretty deep conceptual understanding. Let's first define what a process is. All it is something that turns inputs into outputs. Pretty simple, right? At the highest level, it's a black box. Some stuff goes in, some other stuff goes out. So you have a strategy, you might have a backlog, you might have some market research. That goes in, and what comes out is a roadmap. That's a very oversimplified example, but should give you an idea. There's a lot of criticism of processes, of defining them, of documenting them, and it's just based on a misunderstanding. People take a poor implementation of process management where something that should be fairly loose and give people discretion is handled in a very rigid way. And they say that processes are no good. So there is a spectrum of structure. Some processes are very structured, like orchestrations of messages between systems. There are others, like road mapping, that simply aren't reproducible, but that doesn't mean they can't be described. Certainly at that top level, as I just did, as the black box. But if we start going into the black box, we can define some general activities. We can provide people guidance. We can make available to them the resources that they need. And the goal there is A, to make things reasonably reproducible so that in the organization we don't have 50 ways of doing roadmaps if we don't need them. We might have different parts of the organization that need different processes. That's okay. It also allows us to start managing them, to start measuring them. What are the outputs? What are the outcomes they're contributing to? And this doesn't have to be full-time work. I do maturity assessments of product management organizations. One of the key dimensions in my model is process management. Does the organization understand that there are processes? Do they have somebody who is trying to improve them? Do they have a culture that tries to improve them? So that every time we create a roadmap, every time we build a backlog, every time we do all the things that product managers do, we have some guidance, we have some reproducibility. I can let people know about organizational norms, things that they should be doing. So process is not the enemy. Process is your friend if you understand it and do it right. So this is part one in a series. I will talk a little bit more about processes in a way that I describe these complex knowledge worker processes like road mapping. They cannot be described based on every activity or every goal that you're trying to achieve, but we can document that process and we can get our organization acting in a much more effective and efficient manner. So stay tuned for that. The last point I want to make is just to remind you to be very careful of people who attack a concept based on a poor implementation of it. I see it all over social media in product circles. I see people maligning Agile, Scrum, Roadmap, Safe, all these things because they just point to instances where it doesn't work. I think it's intellectually lazy, it's manipulative. So let's look at good implementations of things, where people are getting value from things, and see if we can learn. And I can tell you from my personal experience working with a lot of big clients, understanding your processes is hugely valuable. I hope this was valuable to you.